Is it that we live on this planet for a certain number of years? The different one, it grows about this aging in terms of the retirements. We have judges also here. Supreme Court judges retire at the age of 65. And in America, they have lifelong judges. So the question immediately comes to your mind, why doesn't their brain go here and there? Why does it get weird? Why is it only in Kashmir or in India, we say, no, he has aged. It doesn't happen there. Some of the judgments have been well written even at the age of 65. Or look at the Supreme Court decisions. They retire voluntarily, not by compulsion of law. They retire voluntarily, they cannot hear, they cannot speak, then they devote that particular office. When you look to these facts, it leads to this conclusion. It's entirely up to that individual what he thinks of himself. If you are at the age of 20 and you think that you have gone old and there's a time for you to die and you are born at the return ticket to Allah, you are dead. But if you are not thinking like that, but you feel that you are born with a purpose, you want to do something in this life, you want to do something for the society, then you grow. Then you do not age. Age is something to do with this psychology. That's very important aspect. The doctors have also brought it. Secondly, we have some practical problems about this aging here in Jammu and Kashmir. Suddenly this issue has become important. I recall, I don't think ever we discussed aging, either not only of this club or at all anywhere. Why were not we discussing aging before? Possibly this was not an issue. Suddenly this has become an issue. What is the cause of this issue? Why has this become an issue? Maybe the society has changed. Various developments have taken place. Digitalization, information, so many things have changed around us. Therefore, this also has become an issue. Most important thing socially which has become an issue is, particularly in the context of Kashmir, is that our joint families have broken. So they become nuclear families. So you have a father, the wife, and maybe a couple of children. That's all what we have. The other important thing is, practically also, I know a lot of people here whose children are no longer here, but they have traveled abroad. Now this becomes an issue now. What happens to the parents? What do? They have built houses, palatial houses, maybe with 5, 6, 7 bedrooms, but they don't need more than 1 bedroom. The other bedrooms are lying empty. What do you do with them? This, to my mind, is something important for me. The solution will not lie anywhere else. Of course, there are some obligations on the states, but there's a different kind of obligation. The solution lies with you. Solution will not lie anywhere. First, as rightly said, we believe that children are supposed to take care of their parents. It's a great value. They must take care of the hands which made them to walk. They cannot ignore and forget those hands. So they must take care of them. How will they take care of them if your children are serving abroad? What should they do? Would you like to spend your life with them? They may have a place to stay, they may not have a place to stay. What do? Will you compel them, don't travel abroad and stay with me till I am alive? This is what is confronting Kashmir society. This is what is confronting every parent. Solution again is with you. What do you do in that situation? If you don't allow your children to travel abroad, you are clipping their wings. Their destiny may be somewhere else, which you cannot stop. But we sitting in Kashmir, we understand their problems, something which you need to do. I recall I said it earlier also. Those of you who are experienced in their respective profession, whatever you've done, majority of the people in the city of Srinagar have been retired government employees in one form or the other. Retired chief engineers, retired doctors, professors, teachers, so on and so forth. I thought that perhaps the best method could have been that each and every place wherever they live, they could create a small center for themselves where these aged retired people can meet every day in the morning, talk to each other, spend some time with each other. Of course, not criticizing their daughters-in-laws or son-in-laws, but talking about the life as it is. They could even afford a servant who can give them newspapers, give them a cup of coffee or tea in the morning where they can spend. Another important thing which the elders need to understand is this. God said, read a book or do this activity, music and so on and so forth. If we look to ourselves, have we developed any interest in ourselves in anything other than what we do? If I'm a lawyer, I study law every day. Why am I not able to develop interest in nature? Why am I not able to develop interest in flowers, in agriculture, in so many things, in art? We do not have that environment here in which we have developed that interest. So when you retire, you don't have any interest. You have a problem. If you write books like Dr. Siraj wrote a book, great thing. There may be some people who are poet, they write poetry. But all of us are not like that. Majority of you are the members of this club. You like to be here, feeding your nafs more rather than your intellect. But that's how the things are. You need to develop an interest. What is it you want to do in the post-retirement life? I remember there was a beautiful ad many years that was on the street. It said, काम से रिटायर हो जाओ मगर जिंदगी से नहीं. हम जब रिटायर होते तो दोनों से हो जाते हैं. ये unfortunate part is you need to understand the profoundness of this ad. काम से रिटायर हो जाओ मगर जिंदगी से नहीं हो जाओ. Now look at the contribution. This I take the positive side of the elders. Look at the contribution of the elders. Aren't they the assets of the society? Aren't they rich in their experiences? Look at, I know some of the families where the grandchildren would like to spend more of their time with grandmother or grandfather.
Rather than their own parents.
Yes, rather than their own parents. Why do they want to do that? They find that emotional love and bond between each other. So how great it is for those great parents to transfer culture, language, wisdom, maturity over to those children. That's one positive contribution which these elders can make. But then we don't have such a situation here too. The elders either don't have time, the elders are doing something else. They wouldn't like to spend so much of children, even if the children are around. So there are few things which I want to emphasize is, many things which you have to do yourself. This aging for some people is a number. For some people it is simply a number. But for some people, age is age. You want to retire and then wait for the final call with which we are all born. But then, till that call comes, it's you and you as an individual who has to contribute. Now, one important thing which you can do you still want to perform excellently even after retirement? For whom? When we are young, when we are lawyers, I work 18 hours a day because I have to prove myself, prove my excellence, prove my performance. But when you retire, when you grow in age, like particularly those who retire from the government service, do they need to perform excellently for whom? They don't have the pressures of excellency at that point of time. They don't have these pressures at all. So they are comparatively free. Like you have been government servant, you got to do your job efficiently. You are an engineer, you got to do it very efficiently. So like a doctor too. But then when you retire, you don't have to prove, you don't have to do anything. But at the same time, you need to do something for your own happiness. Not survival only, but for your own happiness, you have to do something for yourself. So kindly develop that interest in you. Connect yourself. And one of the most important things is not only loving the nature as it is, but also be connected with our society. People need you. I have been telling some of the people whom I know personally, when they retired as engineers, I said, why don't you open an office? Let you render free services. You don't need money, you are getting sufficient pension. But render your professional service to the people. If I want to build my house, advise me how to do that. If there's a doctor, okay, advise him how people maintain their health. But nobody is willing to do that. Then you need to look into yourself. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to still contribute for the society, or you want to still live for yourself? You want your children to be around? There's a very deep-rooted psychology in it. I remember in my lot of experience in the legal profession, a person came to me, his son got a job outside. His father was in. He wanted a job here, he would not get the job, he wanted me to go to the court to get a legal remedy available for him. I just mentioned to him, I said, why are you not allowing your son to go abroad while he was getting a damn good job? He said, who will take care of me? Just understand this sentence. Do we have the children to be what? Maid servants? To be what? If we love them, we should allow them to grow wherever they are. If you have this mindset, no, I'm producing a child, he will take care of me at the end. You are, I would not know that, but you are destroying the destiny of the child. Allow him to grow. If he does great thing in his life, it is your respect. He is enhancing your honor. Allow him to do that. But don't take it the other way. That no, he should stay with me because I am old and who will take care of me and so on and so forth. Yes, if it is possible in a certain fact situation, I know there are some children, the parents compel them to stay back and the poor children stay back. Now they are doing normal job here. But that is how the things are. Isn't it injustice to that person? Isn't it injustice to the child? Purely for your own moral reasons you are telling him to stay with you. Please do not do that. Find your own world. Find your own reality. Find yourself what you need to do yourself. Yes, there are medical issues. There are other issues. We have a problem in Jammu and Kashmir, which is not probably in the West, where a person grows old, he might be taken care of by the government. On a phone call, everything is available to him. But here in Kashmir, we don't have. That's a practical problem which I see. I also see the problem where I remember one person who retired as a superintending engineer. So many years back, I asked him, what do you do? He said, I sit at the window and I see somebody should enter my house. Nobody comes to my house. Why not? Because you have broken your relationship with your friends, with your relations, with your colleagues, with your neighbors. I don't know whether you realize this or not. After a certain age, don't you say relationship becomes extremely important? But there's a question to all of you. Don't you think relationship becomes ultimately, you don't want anything, you're not ambitious at that stage. You don't need money, whatever you have done in your life, you have done so. But isn't relationship important at that time? With the neighbors, with your friends, maybe with the children if they are around. This relationship is extremely important. This is a tonic for the old age. But what happens? I see it in Kashmir. Even if the parents are maybe 7 to 8 years old, they don't sometimes talk to each other. They need a third person to help them to talk to each other. Just husband and wife. What has gone wrong? Somewhere something has gone wrong. Somewhere we don't seem to realize what we should do, what we ought to do. We can't, aging by itself is no solution to it. Now see, realizing this there's a lot of things I wrote. If I give the statistics, they say there is 20% population who is more than 65 years of age in the world. In India, you have 10.62% of the population. That's approximately 149 million people who are above this in the process of aging. This is the situation which is world over. What can be done? But the government, sometime back, the Indian Parliament in 2007 passed a law. I don't know I should tell you that law or not, because you will start enforcing that law against your own children. The law says it recognizes this value, that the children must take care of their parents. It recognizes that value. And the law says that the children need help and they have no sufficient means of income. Then any senior citizen, any organization can go to a tribunal, we call it, or to a court, and enforce it against that child, those children, and compel them to take care of their parents. And if they disobey that order, they can suffer imprisonment. So it means that this value of taking care of parents is somewhere breaking. That the parliament had to intervene and enact a law whereby by judicial order a child would be compelled to take care of his parents. And if he doesn't do that, as I told you, he suffers fine, he suffers imprisonment. How do you see this? Of course, as a compulsion of law, he is to comply with this direction. But see the other side of it. Does he have his consent? It lacks consent, it is compliance. There is a difference in law between consent and compliance. He has to comply with law, but it is without his consent. He might still take care of you, but his heart will not be in it. He might still be around, but his heart will not be in it. He might be reluctant to share his income with you, but that's how it is, by force or compulsion of law, to keep this family together, to this bond together. Now, that is what it has ultimately come to be. So my suggestion to all of you is, as I see the world and as I understand that age as it is an issue till, I don't know, we may not be alive by that time, and if at all the science is able to control death somewhere in the future, if at all it succeeds. This is a desire of all of us to be immortal, and we can never be immortal. As on today at least, I know we can't be immortal. So therefore, till that thing happens, we need to take care of ourselves. Yes, the government must come up. Now see, I'll tell you a few more things. Health is a very important issue at the old age. Falling health, the health issues, God forbid, with certain kind of diseases which the old people suffer, dementias and so on and so forth. If the children are not around, the state will have to come forward. This law I talked to you of 2007 of the maintenance of parents and children, this provides for setting up of old age homes as well, to be organized by the governments, to provide all possible facilities to old people who have medical issues, psychological issues, mental issues. But unfortunately, this is a law which is still on paper and it has not been enforced. To my knowledge, probably there were one or two old age homes. I don't know whether they are working at all or not. But I hope that this law is implemented and this institution of old age home is created. Maybe I know some people. Yesterday only I went to a village where my driver was driving it. I saw a woman. There was a person sitting with me. He knew that woman. He said, "Do you know the story about this woman?" She was a small, fragile woman in a crossing the street. He told me, see, this is what is the problem. He told me that this woman had a lot of money in that village. She had 3 sons. Their husband died. These 3 sons took up government employment. Possibly, I remember, one went to the police department, went to somewhere else. They all left their mother. Now she is alone, but living in that village. These are also the instances. There are also the instances there. For them, this old age home is needed. So therefore, I would only conclude by saying, first, take care of yourself. 2, do something. Develop interests in you. And number 3, of course, if the children are able to stay here, good for you. If they are not, go to them. And don't break your relationships with anyone. That's how you can survive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this informative speech, sir. A couple of years ago, I think in 2022, we held a similar program for our senior citizens. And as an expert, we had got Dr. Zubair who was then the only geriatric expert in Kashmir. He was then working in JLNM hospital. So when I talked to him a few days before, so what I learned was he had taken voluntary retirement and started a foundation which is known as the Mold Molds Foundation. And many of our club members are, closely associated with the governing body, the administration of that. And from what I read, they have done wonderful work. Wonderful work. They treat people, they hold seminars, they create awareness. So I'm honored to invite Dr. Zubair Salim to address this gathering.